following is a presentation of the Pro Wrestling Report. Informative, entertaining, and real since 1998.
Prime time. PWR. I think it's this way. Now, the boom's gonna drop if I just follow the cables. Props. Here we go. Let's see what we got. Gotta be a microphone here. Oh, that's not gonna work. No. I can't believe this. He did not get me a microphone. Better get Phil. Of course, he's not on time. Oh, are you kidding me? This is the locker room I get now? Oh, ridiculous. Nelson!
Coming up next, it's the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime Television. We are going to be talking about Matt Hardy's third arrest in 30 days, which happened this past week. Also, Ring of Honor debuted all over the country this weekend on the Sinclair broadcasting stations. It felt a little bit like going back to the future, and oh yes, I do like it. Star of the Week from David Hero, in depth on this past weekend's WWE Night of Champions and the two brand new champions to come from that pay-per-view. Raw, Smackdown, Impact Wrestling, and more. All that coming up right here, right now, on the all-new Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime TV, the longest-running pro wrestling news program in the world, with your hosts, David Hero and Damian Nelson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime Television. Damian Nelson along with David Hero. David, how are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm looking for my microphone to drop.
Still not going to happen. We do have these nice new digs here, though.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Well,
let's spend some money.
Let's get right to it, and it's our top story, ladies and gentlemen, and it's an unfortunate bit of news because Matt Hardy has been arrested and jailed yet again. David, this all happened earlier this week. It was Matt's third arrest in 30 days. This one resulting in him being put in jail and then subsequently being released on bail.
Well, you know what they say, third time's the charm.
Not necessarily in this case. Here's what we know as reported on by the Fayette Observer. He was charged with drugs after his home was searched. And his home was searched as a result of his girlfriend, Rebby Sky, calling 911, which resulted in Matt Hardy being hospitalized due to taking a few too many recreational drugs. Matt Hardy released from the hospital, but while he was there, the police did search his home. After that initial 911 call, his girlfriend took them to a private safe that was in the house, found a lot of painkillers, and from those painkillers they decided that they wanted to do more, so they got a search warrant and got that search warrant and found many more things, including steroids and ecstasy. This not a good situation for Matt Hardy, who this past Monday, seemingly outside the jail, announced that he is going into WWE-sponsored rehab. David Hero, you know Matt Hardy. We've talked to Matt Hardy. It just has been a horrible month for Matt Hardy.
Well, it's been a horrible couple years for Matt Hardy. He's had issues with the WWE in TNA. He's never really quite gotten his groove back, as you could say. There's always been issues.
Like Stella?
Absolutely, just like Stella. Matt Hardy finally is going to go into rehab. Hopefully, he will get the help he needs to get his mind right and healthy. But this is not going to be easy for Matt Hardy.
Not at all.
I mean, he's got to retrain his entire lifestyle. He has to change his habits. And, you know, hopefully the people that surround him are going to respect that and want better for Matt.
But they haven't yet.
But they have not yet.
And now, of course, giving credit where credit's due, his girlfriend is the one that called 911, but one would argue she didn't have a choice but to do so due to his condition at the time.
Well, and you know what? She's being painted out to be almost the villain. Like, how could you lead them to the treasure chest? But if she truly wants his health to be a priority, that's what she had to do. And let's just hope and pray that Matt Hardy gets the help that he absolutely needs.
And seemingly he's going to be doing that, again, entering the WWE-sponsored rehab program.
Which is one of the best in the nation. I mean, and they spend upwards between $75,000 to $150,000.
Does TNA Wrestling get any blame for this? Obviously, they released Matt after one of his arrests in the last month, after he was suspended, presumably for the first arrest. But obviously no wellness program in that company. Did they allow this to...
They have a wellness program, but it's really never enforced.
So then they don't have a wellness program.
But at the end of the day, it's not former TNA wrestler Matt Hardy. It's former WWE superstar Matt Hardy. That's the big difference.
It's sort of interesting that Matt Hardy's the one suffering from this situation right now, when all the while it was his brother Jeff Hardy who seemingly had the problem.
They're brothers. They hang out together. I mean, and you know what?
That whole group, you talk about them being brothers, Shane Helms part of that whole mix as well.
It's no excuse, but the Hardy Boys started young in this business.
Very.
And they were in an attitude era, no pun intended, where at that time, that was what they did after the matches. They would go and relax and feel better and whatnot. Now today, most of the talent, they go back to their hotel rooms and play video games, or they're tweeting or Facebooking. But back then, it was the manly thing to do in wrestling, was to pop some pills and follow it down with a pint of Jack. And
hopefully Matt Hardy will find this help as the help he needs to overcome these demons, if you will. And we wish Matt the best, obviously, in his goal in doing so. Still to come on the Pro Wrestling Report, we've got the Star of the Week. We'll talk about Ring of Honor Wrestling's big debut all over the country on the Sinclair broadcasting stations and more. The Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time continues right here on My 24 in Milwaukee.
I'm telling you, this is not... Okay, we've like come down the totem pole, but we ain't come this low to where we have a show that we can't go through the woods and try to find. This is ridiculous.
There's a spider on me.
Yeah. Would you come on?
Really?
Really, come on.
You hit me with a clothesline.
Okay, what are we doing out here?
We're looking for the next show. We're stuck in the Midwest. I've had my fill of cheese curds and corn dogs, but Jiminy Christmas, we need to make some money, don't we?
I don't know, my allergies are killing me though, because we're in these woods. This is good.
Don't sneeze on me.
I saw you.
No! God!
Sorry. Okay, come on.
Too much.
All right,
have you seen Dave Hero?
No, he's got our camera somewhere, I think.
He's got our money, too.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you gave it to me. I gave it to him. We had to do a run-in on Bubba and Devon Jr., the low-rent Dudley boys.
And can I assure you, they absolutely are not them.
They're not the Dudley boys.
They're not the Dudley
and let's not
boys.
give the Dudleys a ton of credit, but let's definitely not give those guys any.
No, they get zero credit. So, okay, so we're leaving.
This guy's filming us right here.
You
We're trying to cut a promo.
Hold on, you know who this is?
Who?
Dave here.
Dave, you got our money.
Hey,
Son of a...
Oh my God, it's Charlie Haas and it's Shelton Benjamin. We are wrestling's greatest tag team and the Always Tag Team Champions. And you are watching the Pro Wrestling Report on My 24.
Ring of Honor Television tonight on My 24 Milwaukee, the debut on the Sinclair broadcasting stations all across the country. What a show, David Hero. And I got to say this. We had the opportunity to be there live in Chicago when those episodes were taped. And after watching it tonight, it had a vintage feel to it. It was like the old days of wrestling here on Channel 24 were back. Back, remember, on Saturday mornings where you were watching not just wrestling, but roller derby, too. Ring of Honor, I think, has a hit on their hands here on Channel 24.
It had the feel that you were back at the old armories watching wrestling with the Crusher and Dick the Bruiser and Mad Dog Vachon, but now add a few more high spots, a few more flips, a far more faster-paced style of wrestling. Ring of Honor Wrestling it's not what your dad used to watch, but it's kind of similar.
Exactly. It's new, but it's almost like we're going back to the future.
And it's more than just being on the microphone. You're actually going to, we're seeing wrestling on a wrestling program, you know, where you're going to see more than just 18 minutes in a 2-hour show, which is what we've been programmed for the last 10, 12 years.
And we saw 2 great matches tonight, including Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, wrestling's greatest tag team, who you saw a moment ago on this program as well. That is really what it's all about. It's competition in Ring of Honor wrestling, and it's a viable alternative, I think, to both WWE and TNA, which really don't have much differences between each other right now, aside from the obvious.
Right, but with Ring of Honor wrestling, what you're getting is actual competition. I mean, there are, of course, there's all the crazy spots and the flips and the backflips into another flip.
But an elbow drop?
And an elbow drop. But it actually makes sense. I mean, it looks like it belongs in the match, and the guys work hard. Of course, you know, they may not get the recognition of a Rey Mysterio or of a Sin Cara, I guess you could say now, you know, but these guys are definitely on the right path. It's where guys like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, CM Punk, Austin Aries,
Daniel Bryan,
Danielson, Christopher Daniels, that's where they started. And Ring of Honor, it really is today's young stars for tomorrow. This week's Superstar of the Week is your world champion on the Smackdown brand, Mark Henry, the world's strongest man with the world's strongest slam. The guy that has been with the WWE for over 15 years, and let's face it, he's had some of the worst gimmicks imaginable. From the Nation of Domination, to sexual chocolate, to being the father of Mae Young's hand, and I don't even want to talk about Sammy. So congratulations to the Superstar of the Week, Mark Henry, with a big victory over Randy Orton, your new world champion.
It's time to go in depth, and we're going to look this week at 2 different things. And there were the 2 title changes coming out of WWE's Night of Champions pay-per-view this past Sunday night. David Hero, we watched the pay-per-view. We did the pay-per-view post-show. Talked about it on this past Monday's 540 ESPN radio show, where you can hear us every night at 10 o'clock p.m. I'm sorry, every week on Monday nights at 10 o'clock p.m. But we have a new world champion in Mark Henry, your star of the week, and a new WWE champion in John Cena.
He's not a new champion. He's just been champion as a champion.
Exactly, and that is a point of controversy. A lot of people not happy with the fact that John Cena once again has that WWE Championship belt around his waist.
John Cena, perhaps one of the most hardest working guys in all of wrestling. I mean, he is the company guy, he is the face, he sells the most merchandise. Why put the
Fruity Pebbles?
Why put the belt back on John Cena? Let Alberto Del Rio, the guy who makes scarves sexy. Absolutely.
Really?
Why not? I mean,
you got props here now?
I have props everywhere. You know, here's the thing.
What's the thing?
Alberto Del Rio is a star. Let him.
He used to be a star. Alberto Del Rio's stock has fallen dramatically,
and that's only
especially
because
this past Sunday.
And that's because of the creative aspects of the WWE. Cena's already a star. They're making CM Punk a star. Triple H is a star. Let Del Rio, who has worked hard from SmackDown all the way to Raw, reap those benefits.
But what happened? Alberto Del Rio on a meteoric climb in WWE, wins Money in the Bank, cashes it in at SummerSlam. Yet 1 month later, he loses the title to John Cena, and now going into Hell in a Cell on pay-per-view, he's mixed up in a 3-way Hell in a Cell match with him, CM Punk, and John Cena.
Which I think could be terrible. Let's hope they bring Mick Foley back and let him coach those guys on Hell in a Cell. The problem with Del Rio was I honestly believe he was becoming too popular, too over with the crowd, and sometimes when that happens, the powers that be in the Stamford, Connecticut offices will chip away at somebody and knock them back down to size because they don't feel they're ready yet. But ADR, great wrestler, great look, fantastic gimmick, should have had a longer run than just 3 or 4 weeks.
One other thing that's been talked about is, was this the means that will be justified in the end? Because WWE is going to be taping television programming in Mexico come in a few months. And what a better place than Mexico for Alberto Del Rio to win back the WWE Championship.
The only problem with that is then you're going into the Royal Rumble, which is the road to WrestleMania, which is going to be featuring John Cena and The Rock. So let's try not to get too many things going and stuff gets lost. That's my only concern, that ADR, Alberto Del Rio, might get lost in the shuffle.
Mark Henry, he's your star of the week, and deservedly so. But one question I think that needs to be asked about the new World Heavyweight Champion is, if WWE had not given us a new and a refreshed Mark Henry over the last 4 to 8 weeks, would as many people had cared or been so happy that he is the new World Heavyweight Champion? Because, as you said, David Hero, Mark Henry's been around for some 15 years. He has proven how big a monster he can be and is over the last few weeks. Without that, though, would this be something that many fans might have frowned upon?
If he doesn't take out Big Show, if he doesn't squash Kane, if he doesn't injure Sheamus, there's no reason to actually fear the monster. But he took out 3 of the biggest guns on SmackDown on his way to taking care of Randy Orton. It was probably one of the better booked angles, one of the better booked talents they've done in quite some time. And congratulations to Mark Henry.
You can hear more about WWE Night of Champions and our reactions and your reactions to it at our website, pwrshow.com. Again, that's pwrshow.com, where you can get archived versions of our Pro Wrestling Report post-show for WWE Night of Champions and our 540 ESPN radio show from the Monday following. Still to come here on the Pro Wrestling Report, we're going to be talking about WWE Raw, SmackDown, and Linda McMahon throwing her hat back into the political ring, along with Impact Wrestling. The Pro Wrestling Report Primetime continues.
Hey everybody, I'm Sunny, the original diva of the WWE and 2011 WWE Hall of Famer, and you're watching Pro Wrestling Report on My 24.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report here on My 24 Milwaukee. Davey and Nelson and David Hero and Sonny bringing us back from break there. WWE Hall of Famer. More to come from the Pro Wrestling Report. The stars will continue to come out week after week after week right here on My 24 Milwaukee. But David Hero, it's time to talk about World Wrestling Entertainment, and the big news story so far this week has been a series of firings on this past Monday's Raw. The Miz, the best wrestler in the world today, former World Heavy WWE Champion, the man whose journey took him from the real world to the WWE Championship, fired this past Monday night, along with R-Truth. Obviously, this is a storyline, but I don't think you can miss the fact.
Don't disappoint the people. They don't want to see The Miz anymore.
Yes, they do.
Well, maybe you do. The Miz and R-Truth, Triple H fires them to end Raw? Come on, we know that's not going to happen. That's not the case.
Well, it did happen.
Well, it did for, to end Raw, but, everyone's been talking about Kevin Nash is back, Big Sexy.
Kevin Nash was back at Night of Champions this past Sunday night.
And when is the NWO going to reappear?
See, I don't think they are.
I honestly think it may not be the NWO. It could be the Nash World Order, not the New World Order. And you pair in that with The Miz, and you pair that with R-Truth and Big Sexy Kevin Nash and 1 or 2 other guys that may be complaining and whining, maybe a Christian, who knows, one other big gun. But, that's going to be the faction that to then battle Cena, Punk, and Triple H.
WWE has trademarked the name Future Endeavored. We've heard Punk using it. We've heard John Laurinaitis using it. We've heard Triple H using it. Might this be the name of this group that has been Future Endeavored coming back into WWE? Because you made the point. Kevin Nash fired. The Miz fired. R-Truth fired. Who knows who else is going to get fired, especially after what we saw on SmackDown last night with all the stars being brought out around the ring and being addressed by Johnny Ace and Triple H.
It's interesting. When they do something like that, you know there's money behind it. And let's not forget, Triple H and Kevin Nash are buddies, best friends. So you know there's one more run set for both guys.
WWE SmackDown, what is happening with this whole Sin Cara thing? I don't know if you've noticed. Your screen's not playing tricks on you.
That's not picture-in-picture?
No, it's not. There are 2 Sin Caras right now in WWE. The backstory on that, the original Sin Cara had some visa issues.
And other issues.
It wasn't everywhere he wanted to be, and was suspended actually as well for a wellness policy violation. Well, he's got a mask, so it's not so difficult to replace, but now the original Sin Cara is back, and I like the adversity that WWE has capitalized on in making 2 Sin Caras now, because I don't recall seeing anything like this.
Well, they had to do it because they have so much money invested into these $65 masks for Sin Cara that senior intern Cal just had to get. So they don't want to lose all of these masks that they purchased. And what better way to take some of the heat off of the guy that got suspended for a wellness violation than to bring back another one so they can feud each other for a little bit to make people forget why he was taken off TV in the first place.
What people certainly didn't forget, though, was Cody Rhodes gets another victory over Randy Orton last night on WWE Smackdown. I'm telling you this now, Cody Rhodes, the next world champion, the future world champion in WWE, he is officially endorsed by Damian Nelson, along with Heath Slater, The Miz, and
Drink
Crimson.
some of your Kool-Aid. I think you're getting dehydrated.
You need to turn the corner. Cody Rhodes is a future world champion. He's got 3 victories over Randy Orton.
Micro League World Championship, that might be about it, but he's definitely not going to be the future world champion of Raw or SmackDown.
The Usos back on SmackDown last night, taking on the tag team champions of Air Boom. This tag team division in WWE has gone from nothing to something very quickly.
Well, slowly something. They're still, right now with Miz and Truth Future endeavored, there's only one tag team left. That's Air Boom right now.
And the team they faced last night, the Usos. How about that entrance? I still love that entrance from the Usos. The Sons of Rikishi.
Yes, absolutely.
And you can find video of Rikishi exclusively from the Pro Wrestling Report on our website, pwrshow.com. Rikishi talking about Territory League, the organization he's running, which is a unique concept out on the West Coast.
And he's challenged Team Blizzard Brawl, believe it or not, of all things.
That could be
We may have to go out to California to put Rikishi in check.
Linda McMahon has announced that she is running again for the United States Senate, trying to take the seat of a Joe Lieberman. Linda McMahon, on the Republican side of things, going after political office again. David Hero, this time, will the WWE stench still be on her?
You know what? Now I know why they brought back 2 Sin Caras. Because they got to sell a whole lot of Sin Cara masks to pay for another election.
Will she win?
I don't think so. I mean, as much as, you know, we would like to see her do well, I just don't think she can wash it away.
The big things that came up in the last election was the treatment of their talents. And now you got this whole Matt Hardy thing going on. You've got the fact that their WWE talents are still not employees, but they're treated as such. They're independent contractors. Health care is not provided, things of that nature. Linda McMahon's going to have a bit of a challenge winning that seat out in Connecticut.
But she's a McMahon, and she's going to do whatever she can to try to win this thing. It's a lot. Think about it. Sin Cara, masks, John. You watch, there'll be a whole new line of John Cena merchandise also. That's how they pay for this, you know?
That was our discussion on World Wrestling Entertainment for the week. TNA Wrestling, David Hero, Thursday night, TNA Impact Wrestling, followed by the Pro Wrestling Report Sudden Impact Radio, which can be listened to live each week after Impact on our website, pwrshow.com. This past week, though, it became very clear that Bound for Glory is heading in one direction, and that is
backwards.
Hulk Hogan versus Sting headlining that show.
And you know what? I know it's not the sexy match everybody wants. They're all thinking, oh,
it was
my God,
20 years ago.
Hulk Hogan and Sting again. But let's face it, they're going to Philadelphia. Wrestling history happens in Philadelphia. Why not have 2 of the biggest names in wrestling headline a pay-per-view? It's the only way TNA is going to knock any doors down to get any type of publicity. As much as you like Bobby Roode, who knows who he is right now?
You're exactly right. I agree with that. But I fear what's going to happen in the middle of that ring between these 2 men. Sting can still go. Hogan can barely walk as of late.
It depends what kind of match it is.
Fine, even a street fight, they can't deliver.
Yes, they can.
They can't deliver, in my opinion, together.
Oh, you know what? Be a little more positive.
I have all the respect in the world for Hulk Hogan. I have all the respect in the world for Sting. But at this point in their career, on what is supposed to be the grandest stage of them all in TNA Wrestling, they can't deliver together. If I'm wrong, I would like to be. So please let me know. Come Bound for Glory.
Well, we're going to be at Bound for Glory.
I don't think that this is something that's going to do it for TNA's fans. You're right. It's going to put people in that building, and that's ultimately what their goal should be. But what happens when that pay-per-view goes off the air and crap has happened?
The fact of the matter is this. This match is to sell out the building in Philadelphia.
Which they still won't do.
Well, it may have a better shot at it because you'll get the casual fan that hasn't watched in 10 or 15 years that wants to see Hulk Hogan's retirement match. Okay? That's how they're going to bill it. That's how they're going to sell it. And they'll sell some casual pay-per-views. Let's face it, TNA pay-per-views don't sell more than 10,000 buys anyhow. So they're not trying to make money there. They're trying to get the walk-up gate. That's where the money lies, because once they get in that building, they'll sell the retirement Hulk Hogan commemorative T-shirts, cups, coffee mugs, pens, the whole kind of thing.
You don't think it's too late?
Of course it's too late, but what other option do they have?
Bobby Roode's going to take on Kurt Angle.
And Bobby Roode just might be one of the most talented guys in wrestling today. But the fact is, you put Bobby Roode's picture on a poster, how many tickets is he going to sell, as opposed to Sting and Hulk Hogan?
And Ric Flair potentially involved in that whole situation as well.
Okay, so you have three of the biggest names of wrestling in the last 30 years.
But who associates those three names with TNA wrestling?
It doesn't matter, because you're going to see those three guys on a poster.
How well did the Hulk Hogan tour do? Not so good.
Okay, but we're talking about TNA and the way they promote and advertise their events. Okay, even Hogan's thing, those are sold to casinos. So they don't care who shows up. The casinos will just cut the check for them.
Well, we'll see what happens come Bound for Glory, TNA's biggest pay-per-view of the year in Philadelphia. And David Hero, you can learn more about you right now on our website, pwrshow.com. I don't think they do.
Oh, they do it.
It's an expose.
Oh, gotcha. What?
pwrshow.com. More about the Pro Wrestling Report, including our Monday night ESPN radio show on 540 ESPN here in Milwaukee. The additional content that you can get from the Pro Wrestling Report at pwrshow.com. And David Hero feels dang good being here on My 24 Milwaukee, following Ring of Honor Wrestling, an amazing episode tonight. And I'm not just saying that. It really was great. And especially after being there live in Chicago when those matches were taped, something different now exists on a national scale in professional wrestling. And you, the fans, are going to be the benefactors.
There's finally an alternative. It's not TNA, which is trying to compete with the E. It's Ring of Honor doing their own thing with their own stars, their own style.
We'll be back right here again next week on My 24 Milwaukee with all the latest wrestling news from all the wrestling organizations. For David Hero, this is Damian Nelson saying we'll see you next week right here on the Pro Wrestling Report, Prime Time.